Welcome to This Explainer. Look, we all know exactly what it's like to be a modern student right now. You're juggling suffocating deadlines, mountains of reading assignments, and let's be real, you're facing a massive temptation to just take shortcuts to get it all done. It is completely understandable. But today, we're equipping ourselves with an absolute essential, a survival guide. We're going to map out the biggest academic ethics traps that claim the most victims, and more importantly, show you how to elegantly avoid them.
So be totally honest with yourself for a second. Have you ever been tempted to just copy an AI's answer for your essay? Or maybe you were in a massive rush at 2 a.m. and grabbed a sentence from a journal without actually crediting the original author? Don't worry, you are definitely not alone here. This temptation is just a very real part of modern academic life. But let's dive into why taking these shortcuts is basically setting a ticking time bomb for your own credibility.
Trap number 1, academic plagiarism.
Let's start with the most classic academic sin of all time, which, surprisingly, still happens constantly on campuses everywhere. Plagiarism is claiming someone else's ideas, words, or work as your own without honest attribution. According to the experts, this isn't just an innocent, whoops, I forgot to add a name situation. It is a serious violation of scientific honesty and intellectual property rights. You are literally taking someone else's hard work and thought process and slapping your own name right on top of it. Let's look at a really concrete example to put this into perspective. Say you find this brilliant, perfect definition of linguistics in a textbook. If you copy it word for word into your paper without quotes and without a source, that is absolute textbook plagiarism. But if you take a minute to read that definition, genuinely understand it, and then rewrite it entirely in your own words, and most importantly, toss in a citation at the end like Share 2012, boom, that is ethical paraphrasing. You're sharing the exact same concept, but with total respect for the original author.
The crucial thing here is actually recognizing the traps before you fall into them. According to researcher David Resnick, there are 4 super common ones. First up is verbatim, which is exactly what we just talked about, copy-pasting without quotes. Then there's the sneaky paraphrase trap, where you do change a few words but still leave out the source. Yes, that is absolutely still plagiarism. Next is mosaic, which is kind of like making a Frankenstein monster out of sentences from a bunch of different sources without clear attribution. And finally, one that blows a lot of people's minds, self-plagiarism. Yep, reusing your own previously published work for a brand new assignment without declaring it is actually a major violation. So how do we fix this? Well, crossing your fingers and just hoping your professor doesn't notice a copied paragraph is a terrible strategy. Spoiler alert, they almost always know. Instead, you've got to take control. Protect yourself by running your work through a similarity checker like Turnitin way before you hit submit. Get super disciplined about applying standard formats like APA citations. Taking that kind of responsibility from the jump is the true mark of academic honesty.
Moving right along to trap number 2, faking the data.
Let's see how this whole ethics thing plays out when you actually go out into the field to do research. Internationally, there are 3 fatal violations known as the FFP violations. First is fabrication, which is literally making up data completely out of thin air. The data never even existed. Next is falsification, which is tweaking or altering real data just so your results look perfectly aligned with whatever hypothesis you wanted. And finally, plagiarism again, but this time stealing someone's actual data or research ideas. These 3 things completely destroy the very foundation of scientific integrity. Just imagine you are out there researching student reading interests. You are really hoping for high engagement, but the reality on the ground, the interest is actually extremely low. Now, what you do next is everything. If you manipulate your survey data to hide those unexpectedly low numbers, that is a massive, career-ending failure of integrity. But if you practice true scientific honesty and report those low results exactly as they are, that is actually a highly valuable scientific finding for future researchers to build on. Honest data is always the best data. Which brings us to our next section, the modern dilemma, navigating AI. Welcome to the era of artificial intelligence. It is drastically changing how we learn. According to UNESCO guidelines, AI brings us these golden opportunities, but equally massive ethical risks. Have you ever heard of an AI hallucination? This is when a chatbot confidently generates wildly inaccurate, made-up information and someone accepts it as total fact without bothering to verify it. When you swallow a chatbot's fabricated answers whole without applying any critical thinking, you are falling straight into the trap of intellectual laziness. So where exactly do we draw the line?
The boundary is actually pretty clear. Copying a chatbot's full, generic answer and submitting it as your own totally original essay is basically the new plagiarism. You're abusing the tech to replace your own brain. The smart, ethical way to do it? Use AI as a brainstorming buddy. Let it help you spark ideas, structure an outline, or practice a language. But then you step in to write and verify the information yourself. That is how you use AI as a tool, not a replacement for your own intelligence.
Section 4, Becoming a Digital Global Citizen.
Let's zoom out for a second, because understanding these rules absolutely does not stop at the campus walls. In this borderless digital world, we are all global citizens. Especially for any future educators out there, your actions have a worldwide impact. So when you are putting together a presentation or teaching materials, just randomly downloading copyrighted images off the internet disrespects international copyright law. The ethical move is to intentionally search for Creative Commons or open educational resources. It's a small change, but it really shows your responsibility in the global digital ecosystem.
All right, let's bring it all together with the ultimate survival summary.
We have covered a lot of ground today, so let's synthesize these core concepts so they stick. Think of this summary table as your ultimate cheat sheet for academic survival. Dealing with verbatim plagiarism? The fix is easy. Use quotes and cite your sources. What if you paraphrase and change the words? You absolutely still have to cite it. When it comes to data fabrication, just report your research data exactly as it is in reality. And for AI misuse, just remember the golden rule. Use AI as a tool, not a replacement for your mind. Internalize these principles and you'll navigate any academic pressure cooker just fine.
Let's finish up and test your academic wits.
Time for a quick brain warm-up to see how sharp your memory is before we get out of here. Here is your practice question. What are the 3 most serious violations in research ethics known internationally as FFP? Do you remember? Here are your options. Is it A, fabrication, falsification, and plagiarism? B, fabrication, formatting, and publication? Or is it C, fact, fiction, and plagiarism? Take a second to think carefully about it. Got your answer? I hope you went with A. Remember, pretty much anyone can grind out a degree if they try hard enough, but your integrity, that is what truly defines you as an intellectual. Keep thinking critically, stay honest, and I will see you next time on The Explainer.